Everybody, this is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you from downtown Manila. And pretty excited today. Got a guest from my home country, downtown Australia. Most of my guests you've been watching my show, guys, are either from the UK or the United States. But so it's great to have a fellow Aussie here. Her name is Amber Daines. She's a founder of the company name is Bespoke Co. Business to business, PR, and communications training. Hard to believe when you see her. Find it hard to believe she's been doing this for over 25 years. A former award-winning journalist with a 27-year career in media and PR. Amber Daines is founder of Bespoke Co, which she launched in December 2027 from a kitchen table with one client, and how things have changed since then. She works with founders, CEOs, executives to deliver C-suite media training and business leadership presentation skills. I think I need this. Better reach out to her. She also loves crisis comms, which she'll tell you what they are shortly. Her clients span lots of industries, as they would, from renewable energy to finance, and includes big and small businesses, startups, entrepreneurial and not-for-profit fields. And there's a lot more here, guys, but I'm going to let Amber tell you all about that. She's a keen podcast listener, and I've hosted two of my own, The Politics of Everything, which I ran from, a long time, 2017 to 2024, and my latest show, I love it, Life After the Whistle. Bit more to tell you about Amber, but let me introduce Amber to the stage. Hello, Amber. How are you this afternoon?
I'm awesome. All the better for speaking to you.
Thanks, Amber. You're so nice. Okay, let's get the show underway. Tell us about your journey. What inspired you to pursue your current career path? What happened all those years ago?
A long time ago. I'm in fact one of those odd people that knew from a very young age, I'd say primary school, that I wanted to be a journalist. So I used to watch a lot of 60 Minutes on TV when that was, all the rage. I loved my household full of people who watched the news. And I loved the fact that the storytelling was there, although at that time you wouldn't necessarily have called it that. But I just loved the excitement of it. I just loved the idea of being able to speak to different people on different days and turn that into a career. So I didn't really want to do anything else. Like, there's other things I'm obviously interested in, but I kind of thought, well, this is a great starting point, and as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, you go back to Ray Martin, yarn event, right?
Back to those days, yeah, the golden era of television in Australia.
Knocked on my door a few times, let me tell you. What's been the most challenging aspect of your work, and how have you overcome it?
I think running a business, as most people who have run businesses of any incarnation would know, it's probably just that cash flow piece. It's very mundane, but when you're a journalist, you're on a payroll generally. You're a freelancer maybe more now, but back in the day, everyone did everything for you. You got your paycheck. And then I started this little consultancy for my kitchen table many years ago, almost 2 decades ago, and I really knew nothing about running a business. So I think understanding things like your P&L sheet and all the boring stuff is the nuts and bolts, but also understanding how the market is moving and what that means for the services or the products that you're offering. And that's probably been my steepest learning curve. And it's a challenge which every business owner will talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah, I come across dozens and dozens of coaches, guys. They've never played the game. They bought a book, call themselves a coach. They're actually in the grandstand. They've never been on the field and got the bruises and bumps like you and I have.
Absolutely. Got to get in the pit, as they say.
That's the one. Tell us about an important moment in your career that pretty much changed your direction. When was an aha moment?
I think for me, it was probably really early in my journalism career. I was fortunate enough to have opportunities to work in Asia and the UK and so forth. And it was during a time when I think I could have done different things. I was a business journo, and I got an offer to actually go work for an investment bank, of all things, Goldman Sachs at the time, in my mid-20s. I turned it down. It would have been a lot of money, but I just knew that money wasn't everything, and I loved being a journalist. So I think probably staying in my lane was my turning point, believe it or not.
I love that. You haven't got a job, you've got a passion, and it shows. When you've got a
Absolutely.
passion, you never work, you just turn up. It's just fun. Right. In your opinion, what are the key qualities and skills that have helped contribute to your success?
Pretty much tenacity would be one of them. I think having been a young journalist, having to, cut your teeth in a TV environment or in a newspaper, which I did both of, being able to actually interview people 2 or 3 times older than you or more senior at a very young age, I think that's really been my life lesson. And I think, as you know, in business, being tenacious is also really important, you know, knowing how to actually build relationships and make them quality, but also never really giving up is probably the key to what I do.
Yeah, and turn up's one of the big ones, isn't it?
It does help.
Yeah. How do you stay motivated and continue to innovate in your field as you've been doing?
I think I have ebbs and flows. I fell out of love with my business, I think, a few times along the way, but I've kept it interesting. I've rebranded a couple of times. I've had a bigger agency that I've sold. I'm a much more lean micro business now, and I have flexibility. And I think that's what my business gives me. You know, certainly it's a successful business, but it's also about the flexibility it allows for me to do other things in my life rather than just be chained to my desk. So I think that's probably the key for me.
It's what you found the solution. I love the fact that you help small business, because small business needs all the help it can get. And the
It
good thing about
does.
small business, they'll make a decision. When you go to corporate, you've got to go through so many different channels before they'll make a decision. You know, so small business is where it's all at. I love small business for that reason. Tell us a recent project or an achievement you're particularly proud of. You've got some lovely ones here that you've mentioned, but tell me one of your most favourite ones.
I launched a couple of years ago, actually about 18 months ago, my first tech tool. So I feel like I'm the world's oldest tech founder. I'm probably not, but, I'm not in my 20s. It's called ESG for PR. And it was just based on the idea that I wanted a measurement tool for environmental, social governance within communications. And I think for me, that was really exciting because I never thought in my late 40s that'd be something I'd be doing anything. I'm a bit of a Luddite and I've never loved technology, but I had obviously a team of developers to help me. But I'm really proud of that. I actually won an award for that. And it's a white label product, which is sold all over the world. And I feel really happy that I was able to, I guess, overcome my own imposter syndrome about not being a tech person to actually launch that.
Love it. What other awards? You've won a few awards. What other awards?
Yeah, I've had a few awards along the way. I mean, I think accolades are nice, but it's not everything. But yeah, I'm proud. I won a couple of awards last year, one for that particular tool and one for innovative communications around some of the campaigns that I've done as well. So I think, awards that remind you to kind of, I think, reflect. That's kind of how I use awards. Like, it's nice to have that stamp or that trophy and, put that badge on your LinkedIn. But at the end of the day, as you know, in business, it's always about the next thing, not stopping and actually going, you know what, I've done a really good job at this.
Yeah, that's the past. You've got to keep on going. You can't rely on past glories, can we?
No.
What advice would you give someone, an 18-year-old version of yourself, aspiring to follow in your footsteps? What would you tell them?
Look, I think the market's so different now to when I started off being a journalist some 30 years ago. I'd probably just tell them to have a great network and LinkedIn and things like that are great. And those tools online are fabulous. And we've talked a little bit about AI in our pre-chat. But I think at the end of the day, having mentors and people that you connect with in real life is the key.
Love it. Love it. Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for the future?
Look, I'm going to retire at some point, not anytime soon. I'm still got kids in school, but at the end of the day, I think this is going to be my big career. And then I often think about having a portfolio career or running for office maybe in the future.
Yeah, interesting. Make a difference, hopefully. Tell us, how can our listeners and people watching this show find out more about you? What's the best way to contact you?
I have a website that's actually my name, which makes it super helpful. So it's just amberdaines.com, and there's all my social links on there as well.
Fabulous. Before we wrap it up, tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know, Amber.
I've got two sons. They're 16 and 12, and they were born 4 years apart on exactly the same day. And no, it wasn't planned.
Pretty cool. It makes birthdays pretty easy, eh?
It can do, and very expensive.
Yeah, double the trouble. Try to sort out what to get them for a gift without them arguing.
Exactly.
Amber, you've been an awesome guest. Thanks for being on the show today. And guys, if you want your 15 minutes of fame, just like Amber, reach out. Think about it, guys. A TV commercial in your country will probably set you back about $30,000. And what will happen, people will go and make a hot dog or a hamburger. They'll go to the loo. They'll get themselves a coffee, and they'll miss the whole thing completely. 10 radio spots in your city, probably going to set you back between $3,000 and $5,000. No, more than likely play them at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when no one's listening. But you can come on 15 minutes of fame. We'll put you across all your favorite social media channels, potentially put you in front of thousands of people with all your links, particularly YouTube. So once again, Amber, thanks for being on the show. You've been awesome.
Thank you so much.